This morning in Newcastle, he met the journalists again. Journalists who already knew of his challenge to Dr Hewson.
Prime Minister, why have you decided to challenge Dr Hewson to a debate?
Well, I've been invited to go on a current affair by the producer and on the GST, and I'm quite happy to appear. This is the policy that Dr Hewson says Australia needs. It's his principal policy. He says it's what makes him different from us. If that's the case, why is he a fugitive from the GST? Why is he hiding from the GST?
Would you be prepared to go on unemployment?
I hope that Dr Hewson accepts the challenge. I'll be there. I'll be there anyway.
Would you be prepared to go on and debate unemployment?
I'm prepared to debate any subject, but I was invited specifically by a current affair to debate the GST. I'll debate unemployment on another night. I'm quite happy to do that.
As for Dr Hewson, well, he seemed quite happy to do just about anything today. Put on yet another silly hat, this time at McDonald's, and take customer service to an all-time high.
Oh, they smell good.
Just for the customer. Very personalised service, ma'am.
There was also some good old-fashioned toe-to-toe with the hecklers.
Young people will be the first to suffer, and then everyone from there on will suffer under you.
If you think having a job is suffering and staying at home as a couch potato is not suffering, there's your choice.
And when you suddenly find you're outnumbered, you keep walking, leaving the verbal skirmishes in your wake.
Madam, yes, I am. I work in a security firm. I earn $12 an hour, and under John Hewson, I earn $3.50 now.
How are we going to $3.50? How am I $19 a week?
How am I
$119 a week. I mean, he's just got to try and prove that he's a better liar than Keating.
Sure. So you've lost all hope in all politicians, basically?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Lies? Surely not in a federal election campaign, and surely not in a televised debate. A debate that Dr Hewson was quick to agree to.
I think it is very unusual. As I say, I was very surprised to find him as the challenger, and that role reversal was quite unexpected. But I've said since '89, you know, I'll debate him anytime, anywhere, on any subject, and I'm delighted to take the opportunity.
If you believe Labor's party faithful, there are two reasons why, despite the recession and unemployment, Labor's still in with a chance. They're Paul Keating's leadership flair and Dr Hewson's GST. On that theory, Keating began tonight's debate with two aces already up his sleeve. Trouble was, no one told Dr Hewson that, and he seemed to give about as good as he got.
We just took out a list of the taxes that are presently paid by people during their life. They get out of bed in the morning.
But first, a few quick reminders of last October, when John Howard unveiled the Coalition's Jobs Back policy, and then Labor's new TV ad that was unveiled yesterday.
If we really want to make the Australian workplace competitive with the rest of the world, we have to embrace a very important principle. And that is that if somebody makes a capital investment in this country, they ought to be able to run that capital investment 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, without penalty as to the time of the day or night that they run that investment.
The Liberals have now retreated to the past to dig up the common law of master and servant last used in the 19th century to apply to Australians.
If you're under a workplace agreement and you have a deadlock about conditions, then it does become a matter of negotiation. If you can't reach agreement, well, you do go your separate ways. Well, people get sacked now when they don't agree over things.
Just sign here, Adam.
You've cut my wages.
Just sign it, mate.
That's $50 a week less.
Adam, you want to work, don't you?
Yeah, but not for next to nothing.
Dr Hewson wants you to throw away awards and sign employment contracts.
Sign.
You can either lose your wages...
No, it's not fair.
...or lose your job.
Next.
With Dr Hewson's employment contracts, you're on your own. Authorised by AHOG for the Australian Labor Party, Canberra.
Well, John Howard in Sydney, is that a fair portrayal of what could happen?
No, it's totally dishonest.
In what way?
That can't happen because under our legislation, if you can't agree with your employer, and quite clearly that bloke has been employed by that man because he's talking about cutting his wage, you are entitled to keep your current award conditions, full stop. And that has always been our policy, and it's another... You know, addition to the scumbag of lies.
If you won't sign the deal, the boss can't sack you?
The boss has got no greater capacity to sack you in those circumstances than he has at the present time. And the whole implication of that advertisement is that our policy is bringing in a new element of disadvantage for that young man. Now, that is completely and deliberately dishonest, and Senator Cook knows it.
Now, this is a fair portrayal of what has been happening here in Victoria, even before the 1st of March, and a fair portrayal of what would happen if Mr Howard's industrial relations policy...
On the 1st of March, of course, Victorian awards disappear, do they not?
That's right. And Mr Howard's policy is for awards to disappear too, for people then to have the so-called choice of negotiating on their own with their employer for the award conditions that have disappeared. And I mean, that ad portrays graphically what has happened in the case of Copper Art, where in that agreement, lauded by Mr Howard and his fellows in the coalition, there is a reduction in pay of $41.85.
Peter Cook is wrong when he says that you will be forced to negotiate on your own under our policy. That is wrong. He knows it's wrong.
You'll be able to keep your minimum award rate of pay, won't you?
Look, if you're in an award now and you don't want to lose your award conditions, you cannot be forced to give them up. You have a perfect entitlement to say to
all of your award conditions?
All of your current award conditions.
Including over-award payments?
If you are legally entitled to over-award payments, but most over-award entitlements are not a legal entitlement, you can lose them under the present award system. The point is that you are at no greater disadvantage. If you've got an entitlement now to penalty rates or holiday loadings, they cannot be unilaterally terminated by your employer.
On the 22nd of January, Mr Howard put out this press release and he said, under JobsBack, no employer can take away penalty rates or holiday loadings unless an employee agrees to their removal in exchange for some other benefit. My emphasis, some other benefit. Here's JobsBack. There's nothing in there that says that. Not a single thing.
All right, well, let's put that to Mr Howard.
Oh, you haven't read the document properly.
Which page?
No, look, Peter.
Where is it?
The page that says quite plainly, Peter.
Page 8?
Well,
it's not on page 8.
Look, I don't need to have page numbers.
This was 10 years in the making. You know every word of this, Mr Howard.